Education Academy. Let us learn about the clashes between the Mysore and English, which are been called in the name of First Anglo-Mysore War, Second Anglo-Mysore War, Third Anglo-Mysore War and Fourth Anglo-Mysore War. About the Mysore War, it is been given in the chapter called as Opposition to British Rule in Karnataka and Wodeyars of Mysore. Okay, now whose rule it is there? It is the rule of the Mysore Sultans. In our last session, we understood about how Hyder Ali came to the power of the place called as a Mysore. Now, British who felt Hyder Ali as one of the biggest challenge in the expansion of the British Empire in the southern side. They want the end of the rule of Hyder Ali so that they can establish their supremacy in all over the India. Now, the first Anglo in this way, what we see that the four Anglo-Mysore War took place. The first Anglo-Mysore War, which was fought between the Hyder Ali and again between the English or against the British. Okay, first Anglo-Mysore War against between whom? Between the Hyder Ali and between whom? Between the English. This war, which was been from the period of 1767 to 1768. 1767 in the year to 1768. In this between, what we see the first Anglo-Mysore War. The Nizam of Hyderabad, how it begins. The Nizam of Hyderabad attacked on the place called as a Mysore. Who? Nizam of Hyderabad. He attacked on a place called as a Mysore, but could not able to defeat to the ruler called as a Hyder Ali. That too with the help of whom? With the help of English. So English and Nizam of Hyderabad together they attacked on which one? On the place called as a Mysore, but were being defeated by whom? By the Hyder Ali. This caused what it is that Nizam of Hyderabad joins the hands to the whom? To the Hyder Ali. Whom he joins the hands to the whom? To the Hyder Ali by leaving whom? English. Further, Nizam of Hyderabad and Hyder Ali, both of them, Nizam of Hyderabad and Hyder Ali, both of them attacks on the place called as a Tiruchirappalli. Attacks on the place called as a Tiruchirappalli. In this place he attacks. Realizing this, the English realizing this of whom? Hyderabad and Hyder Ali, Nizam of Hyderabad and Hyder Ali, realizing this, English who felt the danger, what he does, he decides to take action on whom? On the Hyderabad. Who decides now? English decides to take action on whom? On the Nizam of Hyderabad. When Nizam of Hyderabad got to know that English with its huge army marching towards the place called as a Hyderabad, suddenly once again Nizam of Hyderabad broke the friendship with Hyder Ali and once again become the friend of whom? Friend of the English. Nizam of Hyderabad, soon as he gets to know that English is marching towards the Hyderabad, leaves the hand of Hyder Ali and joins to the whom? To the English. Once again, Nizam of Hyderabad and English both are what? They are the friends. But Hyder Ali knew that once again there may be attack on them. So what he does? Hyder Ali joins the hands to the whom? To the Marathas. Hyder Ali, what he does? Joins the hands to the whom? To the Marathas, and Marathas, by paying them, Hyder Ali pays Marathas money in the form of cash as well as some forts. Money and fort was being given to whom? To the Marathas by Hyder Ali, because Hyder Ali knew very well that once again there may be an attack by whom? By the English as well as the Hyderabad. So now here, if you see, one side it's a Nizam and British, and another side Hyder Ali and Marathas. The result caused what it is that in the year 1769. The result what it caused between them in the year 1769, Treaty of Madras was signed. What was signed? Treaty of Madras was being signed between the British and between Hyder Ali, and peace was being maintained. The war was being stopped. Both of them promised that, in that major promise was been done by the by the British, that he is going to help to the Hyder Ali if any of the enemy attacks on him. The major promise what it was, if any of the enemy attacks on the Hyder Ali, British is going to come for the help. By promising this, what we see that the first Anglo-Mysore War comes to an end. But it did not remain for a long period of time. Once again what we see, it is being finished in the 1761 and 1769, the Treaty of Madras was being signed. What we see that British, who want to have his whole territory under his hand. Which territory now? Mysore territory. Keeping this in the mind, now what we see, once again the clash took place between the between the English and between between the Mysore. Now who is the ruler here? Once again Hyder Ali, as usual, he is the ruler of the place called as a Mysore. The war which was between 1782 to 1784. The war which took place between 1782 to 1784. Again, who are there here? One is English, another side who is this? Hyder Ali is the ruler of the Mysore. What we see now? In the year 1770, 1769, what we are saying, Treaty of Madras was being signed, and English promised that he is going to help if anyone attacks on him. But in the year 1770, when Marathas attack on the place called as a Mysore, British, English, he didn't came to the help to whom? To the Hyder Ali. British doesn't comes to help to whom? To the Hyder Ali, which causes what it is that Marathas defeats to the whom? To the Hyder Ali, which angered Hyder Ali against whom? Against the English. It was totally, the treaty which was been signed was been broken by whom? By the British. And British wanted that Hyder Ali should become weak. So he didn't came for the help. But after 10 years, in the year 1780, what we see, the war begins between whom? Between the Hyder Ali and between whom? Between the British. And it starts from the place called as a Mahe. Mahe, which belongs to the whom? To the French, was under the hands of whom? Under the hands of the Hyder Ali. Mahe, which belongs to the French, was under the hands of the Hyder Ali. Now this place called as Mahe was taken by whom? By the British. And from here what we saw, the second Anglo-Mysore War begins. Hyder Ali, who was fighting, okay, he was fighting at the place called as a Arcot. He was fighting at the place called as Arcot against whom? Against the British. But due to his boil on his back, okay, we see he was unlucky, and what we see during between the war itself, Hyder Ali dies. As he dies, Tipu Sultan comes to the power as a Sultan of Mysore. Tipu Sultan comes to the power after the death of Hyder Ali. So this shows what it is. In the mid of the second Anglo-Mysore War, Hyder Ali now died. Okay, place called as a Arcot, while fighting at a place called as Arcot. Tipu Sultan, he knew very well that if he sat quiet, then British easily rule on the Mysore. To save the Mysore, Tipu Sultan continued his war, and Tipu Sultan reached up to the place called as a Mangalore, the coastal area. Reached up to the where? Up to the Mangalore. By realizing this, now British came into agreement with whom? With the Tipu Sultan. Came into the agreement with whom? With the Tipu Sultan. And what they signed? Treaty of Mangalore was been signed. Treaty of Mangalore was signed between whom? Between the Tipu and between whom? Between the British. And peace was been maintained. Mangalore as well as the Malabar coastal area. remain in the hands of whom? In the hands of the Tipu Sultan. Internally, British were not satisfied by this, but time being, now Mangalore and Malabar, it is under the hands of whom? It is under the hands of Tipu, and Treaty of Mangalore was being signed, and both of them agreed that they are not going to join their hands with any of their enemies. Both of them, they are not going to sign with any of the enemies. On base of this, what was been done, the Second Anglo-Mysore War comes to an end. But as usual, as I said, the stomach of the womb of the British is not yet fulfilled. It's because still they want that the whole Mysore should be in the hands of whom? In the hands of the British. Keeping this in the mind, what we have seen that the fresh attempt was being done by whom? By the British in the form of Third Anglo-Mysore War. The Third Anglo-Mysore War between 1792, between whom? Between the Tipu Sultan against whom? Against the British. Tipu Sultan and against whom? Against the British. What we see, said the Third Anglo-Mysore War, it continued. Here, Tipu Sultan very well knew this. The Treaty of Mangalore, which was being signed, is temporary. Why it is temporary? It's because according to the Treaty of Madras, the Marathas who attacked on the Mysore during the rule of his father, at the time British should come for the help to the Hyder Ali, but British broke the treaty called as a Treaty of Madras, which shows that, or which made the Tipu Sultan to not to have any sort of faith on whom? On the British. Keeping this in the mind, Tipu Sultan, what he did, he continued his effort to make or to strengthen his power. So he joined the hands of whom? Of the French. French was always with whom? With the Tipu Sultan. Not only Tipu Sultan had a contact with the French, but moreover, even he sent his ambassador to different areas to take some sort of help against whom? Against the British. And here in India, he attacks on Travancore. The Raja of Travancore. He was an ally of whom? Of the British. In the sense, the Raja of Travancore was with whom? With the British. When Tipu Sultan attacks on Raja of Travancore to occupy this place, British on the behalf of Raja of Travancore declares war on whom? On the Tipu Sultan. But this time, he not alone. With this, with the British, who else joined? One is called as a Nizam of Hyderabad and plus Marathas. With the help of Nizam of Hyderabad, Marathas, Raja of Travancore, as usual, British. 4 persons together attacked on the way on the Tipu Sultan, which caused what it is that, and that to which place called as a Sri Rangapatnam. Okay, attack was being done. This caused what it is that Tipu Sultan could not able to stand for a long period of a time in front of the combined force of whom? Combined force of the British, which caused that once again British here they were upper hand and made Tipu Sultan forcibly to sign a treaty called as a Treaty of Sri Rangapatnam. Treaty of Sri Rangapatnam. According to this Treaty of Sri Rangapatnam, after the battle, a Treaty of Sri Rangapatnam, according to this, Tipu Sultan was penalized with 3 crore rupees as a war penalty. 3 crore rupees as a war penalty, and till he will not pay this 3 crore of rupees, his 2 sons of whom? Of the Tipu Sultan were being kept as a hostages, okay, as a security. 2 sons were being taken captive by whom? By the British till the payment of rupees 3 crore, and the Mysore was divided into 3 parts. One ruled by English, one ruled by the Marathas, one by the whom? By the Nizam of Hyderabad. In this way, the Mysore was been divided into three parts. So Srirangapatnam Treaty was one of the humiliating treaty which was being signed by the whom? By the Tipu Sultan. Okay, to save only and only place called as a Mysore. But how come yet the whole Mysore yet not it is in the hands of the British, and even Tipu Sultan also want to, one side British who want to take the whole Mysore in their hand, and another side Tipu Sultan also want to save the whole Mysore under his hand, which caused once again, or which gave birth once again to the new war which is called as a Fourth Anglo-Mysore War, which has been called as a, which one? Called as a Fourth Anglo-Mysore War. Okay, 1799 AD. This is the Fourth Anglo-Mysore War, once again between whom? Between the Tipu Sultan and British. Now this time, as Tipu Sultan, how many sons? Two sons were being given as a hostages. Now Tipu Sultan, according to that agreement, he pays 3 crore rupees, liberates his two sons from the clutches of the British, and also tries to strengthen his power in the way in the Mysore. Now he is at the fort called as a Srirangapatnam fort. He has been there. Tipu Sultan, to defeat to the English, and as he knows very well that Nizam of Hyderabad and Marathas are with them, so he continues his relationship with the French and requests to the whom? To the French be the part of the Mysore. French also accepts, and French decides to give the training. French decides to, who now? French, what it is, decides to train the army of whom? Of the British. Sorry, train the army of whom? Of the Hyder Ali. Of whom? Of Hyder Ali, which didn't liked by the whom? By the his biggest enemy called as a British. British felt that French and, sorry, not Hyder Ali, it's about the Tipu Sultan. We are talking about Tipu Sultan. Okay. French to train the army of Tipu Sultan. British who felt that the biggest enemy, if Tipu Sultan and French together they join their hands, then it would become a very danger to the British in the expansion of the empire. Keeping this in the mind, now British tried to put up a pressure on Tipu Sultan by making him to sign the agreement called as a subsidiary alliance, which was not accepted by whom? By the Tipu Sultan, which made Tipu Sultan to raise his voice against the British, and British to take action on whom? On the Tipu Sultan. Once again, Nizam plus Marathas. And during this time, even it was been found that the internal enemies of Tipu Sultans were also being increased. So one of the biggest fall of the Tipu Sultan was also of which one? Of the internal enemies, the people of his own empire, and another side Nizam and Marathas, the native rulers, right? They joined with the hands of with whom? With the European called as a British. A fierce battle took place at the place called as a Srirangapatnam, and British who surrounded the Srirangapatnam from all corner, from all four sides, with the force of Nizam of Hyderabad as well as the Marathas, which caused what it is that Tipu Sultan was being defeated, he was being killed. In this way, the whole Mysore, after the death of Tipu Sultan, the whole Mysore fell under the hands of whom? Under the hands of the British. And British, after taking the Mysore, handed over the empire in the hands of Krishna Raj Wodeyar III, who is the part of the Wodeyar dynasty. Krishna Raj Wodeyar III was being given the Mysore. In this way, Four Anglo-Mysore War comes to an end, and this shows what it is that now in the southern part of India, no one is the competitor to the British. Now British, after taking that area, now he started expansion of his empire with a more power. In our next period, we are going to learn some more about some more important personalities who played a major role in the state called as Karnataka against the British.